Biopics are Bollywood's newfound treasure, and over the years, the trend is only gaining more traction. From kings and queens to sports stars to even Bollywood celebrities, Bollywood has taken the liberty to tell us real-life stories that will inspire and prove to be thought-provoking. However, the industry has a penchant for drama and exaggeration owing to its very nature and doesn't feel too badly about twisting some facts along the way for creative liberty. Welcome to InFact. Here are a few movies that indulged in some fact twisting to suit the narrative and why we didn't find it quite okay. Dangal. Sports biopics are Bollywood's favorite genre, it seems, and Dangal did not fail to impress both the critics and the masses. But exaggeration is second nature to Bollywood, and that was obvious in the movie as well. The 2016 Amir Khan starring film that goes into the life of Mahavir Singh Phogat and his older daughters Geeta and Babita Phogat. The film is overall enjoyable and tackles important issues with care. However, there were still facts that the movie got wrong while trying to keep viewers at the edge of their seats. For one, there was the depiction of the character of Geeta's coach, P.R. Sondi. In the movie, the coach had taken up somewhat of a villain's role, who at the very end of the movie had even locked up Geeta's father inside a storeroom during the last match. The real-life coach had objected to this portrayal, saying it was damaging to his reputation and that the security would have found out had he actually ever done that. It had been later clarified that the incident had been fictionalized. Another glaring distortion of reality to create drama were the matches itself, with the movie depicted Geeta Phogat as 4 points behind her opponent initially with a score of 1-5 and later went on to win with a score of 6-5. In reality, however, Phogat brought the medal home with a victory of 8-0 over her opponent. It was also shown that the opponent would resort to aggression or underhanded techniques to ensure victory. That was not the case in reality. Gunjan Saxena. One of the most recent examples, the 2020 released Gunjan Saxena had been heavily criticized for borrowing from reality rather than staying true to it, coming from various ex-officers of the Indian Air Force. The biggest issue had been the portrayal of gender bias. Ever since the movie was released, it has become controversy's favorite child. Indian Air Force and the Indian Army had previously questioned the makers about the irregularities in their depiction of the institutions. Many batchmates of IAF officer Gunjan Saxena have also pointed out that the infrastructural disadvantages and the pervasiveness of the gender bias depicted in the movie was not actually the case. Ever since the institutions have opened their doors to women, they have promised to not discriminate against them for their gender. While it must have been extremely tough to be a woman in one of the first batches in these institutions, which have been traditionally associated with men, it seems morally wrong to portray that they weren't even provided with basic facilities such as changing rooms. Bhaag Milka Bhaag. Yup, the wonderfully inspiring movie Bhaag Milka Bhaag had its moments of factual inaccuracies as well. Though overall, it seems to remain true to real-life occurrences, it wouldn't be a Bollywood production if the creators didn't try to add even more drama to the story. For one, the movie shows Milka as breaking the 400-meter world record with a time of 45.8 seconds in 1960, which is entirely untrue. In actuality, it was merely his personal goal, and the record had then been set by Lou Jones at 45.2 seconds in 1956. The film features various other distortions, such as the Lahore race occurring after Rome, when in real life it happened well before, besides tiny inaccuracies in period depiction. Airlift. Raja Menon's film Airlift, starring Akshay Kumar, tugged at heartstrings on the eve of Republic Day in 2016. The return of more than 1.5 lakh Indian workers from Kuwait and Iraq was a remarkable Indian achievement and obviously deserved a film. Apparently, a certain ministry criticized the film for taking artistic liberties with actual events. Airlift shows the Indian embassy in Kuwait being evacuated soon after the entry of Iraqi troops, and that it is left to local businessmen to negotiate with the Iraqis and to organize refugee camps. Contrary to this portrayal, diplomats have said that the Indian mission in Kuwait wasn't closed. Based on the mass evacuation of 170,000 Indians from Kuwait in 1990, with one man, Ranjit Katiyar, single-handedly leading the charge, made for a great patriotic film. However, it ended up upsetting for Indian ambassadors who claimed the film threw shade on their duties as convoys and public servants. Soon after the release of the film, the then MEA spokesperson Vikas Swaru and a witness of the actual event sent out a video stating that the film had taken a lot of creative liberty which had meddled with the facts of how the evacuation was carried out in reality. Also, the character Akshay Kumar played in the movie is fictional too. In reality, there is no record of a person named Ranjit Katiyar. People of Indian community like Sunny Mathew, Sriram Vedi helped during this evacuation. Bajirao Mastani. How can one not step into the presence of something extraordinarily creative the minute you step step into the world of Sanjay Leela Bansali. The film is based on the love story of Marathi Peshwa Bajirao and Mastani. But if you check out the story, then you will not find any record of this romantic relationship. Starring Ranveer Singh, Deepika Padukone and Priyanka Chopra, the film faced objections from a group of Bajirao's descendants who found fault especially with the dances set to the songs Malhari and Pinga. Also, Bajirao and Mastani did not die on the same day as shown in the film. Mastani died several months later. Their son Shamsher Bahadur was never taken away forcefully either. Bajirao Mastani may look and feel gloriously epic, however, it did have its share of inaccuracies. Nirja. Based on the bravery of Pan Am Airlines flight attendant Nirja Banod's sacrifice during the flight hijack in Pakistan in 1986, the film depicted how Nirja gave up her life to save fellow passengers. However, fellow crew members of Nirja claimed that the film was too fictional and gave undeserved adulation to Nirja alone. Taking to her Facebook account, Noopur Abrol had said, "Yes, truly a very difficult moment, but also a difficult moment for all those flight attendants to accept the movie for what it is unfairly propagating. Nirja was a wonderful person, and I think even her soul today would cringe at taking this undeserved adulation. Not fair to the FAs who have in reality faced their ordeal." Azhar. Based on the life of one of India's most iconic cricketing figures from the 80s and 90s, the film showed Imran Hashmi trying hard to whitewash Mohammad Azharuddin's ruined public image. The film presented Azharuddin as a victim of circumstances, though the explosive CBI report would tell you otherwise. The movie absolved the man of all his mistakes and portrayed him to be a hero who only took 1 crore rupees to prevent the fixers from reaching the rest of the team. In the movie, he doesn't adhere to what he has been paid for and returns the money post the win. Even though Azharuddin eventually confesses to having been involved in major match-fixing incidents during his tenure, the film tries to evoke empathy from the audience. Azhar got a new lease of life even after admitting to engaging in malpractice in the form of a Member of Parliament ticket. There wasn't a need for a whole movie that twists the facts in his favor. MS Dhoni, The Untold Story. Soon after the film hit the theatres, fans began questioning the credibility of the timeline of Dhoni and Priyanka Jha's love story as depicted in the film. The film claimed that Dhoni first set eyes on Priyanka in 2005 while flying for a one-day series against Pakistan. However, in reality, if reports are to be believed, Dhoni and Priyanka had been dating since 2002 and were very much into each other during India A Scott's Zimbabwe and Kenya tour in 2003-2004. Surma. The Diljit Dosanjh starrer might not have made a huge impact on the box office, but it got him many accolades for his acting chops. Surma was based on the life of Indian hockey team's ex-captain Sandeep Singh, who is one of India's best sports stars, and there is no doubt about it. It takes immense strength and perseverance to achieve even half of what he was able to. The movie, however, digressed from the facts and showed that in the final match, Sandeep scored multiple goals. That was not the case, but he was instrumental throughout the game and had many assists which led to India's win. The depiction made it seem like only the act of actually scoring the goal would redeem a player's worth. In reality, Sandeep Singh was actually the highest scorer in the tournament, but it was his leadership skills and technical knowledge of the game that orchestrated the win for India. And those are contributions that were instrumental, goal or no goal. In the end, the film exaggerated the role of Sandeep Singh in winning the match, altering the number of goals scored by him, etc. It is significant because this one inaccuracy is enough to undermine the efforts of the player to get back to his feet and ends up equating a player's worth with that of his contribution to each game. Sanju. We have lost track of how many disparities this movie had with reality. It was almost like watching a fictional account. We have enough people discrediting the media, and the movie has conveniently chosen that narrative. In the movie, Sanjay Dutt is a victim of the media that painted him in a bad light and held a public trial. It absolves him of any responsibility from the choices he made as an individual. The truth is that the reportage of the case was inconsequential, and there was sufficient evidence that suggested that he abetted the crimes he was accused. The movie has not only overtly eliminated essential characters from the film, but also has blatantly sympathized with the hero on all the controversial topics. The audience would be swayed in one way unanimously had these parts been included. That's it for this video. See you in the next one.